traditionally people are tone fanatics. And it is true if you think 80-20 rule that the tone is determining the sale, just like your body language. However, there is tone fatigue. So if you sound like Jordan Belfort and you say, I'm enthusiastic AF, or you sound like Grant Cardone, you're fired up and you're power posing in your suit. Well, that's what we're all used to. Just a very loud, confident, sales bro, or you know what I mean? So what I do is some type of neutrality, like air traffic control, very monotone or neutral. I just kind of tell, not sell. So people have misinterpreted what that means. But yeah, it's really not the tonality, it's actually power transfer. And they've always said they will know you by the quality of your questions. So I see the repartee of an initial cold call as Aikido. Traditional cold calling is you interrupt and you have Kung Fu and fast hands. And to me, it's like social Tai Chi or social Aikido. Yeah, such a great question. So I came out of mobile advertising and attribution analytics and measurement. And it's a big word, but essentially, think of it like ad units. Think of it this way. If you have 1,000 prospects, break them up by what I say Occam's razor. So it's the minimal viable amount of sequences. So if you have just 3 verticals across the 1,000, just say, okay, these are VPs of marketing in automotive, VPs of marketing in insurance, VPs of marketing, right? Or if it's maybe geography based, or it's title and vertical, or maybe it's here's the C-level sequence, and then here are VPs, and then here are the technical. But that's how I break it up, and then I just make it very relevant, because if you have a bunch of case studies and use cases, well, here are the VPs of e-commerce. So we're going to have a VPs of e-commerce sequence, and then here are CXOs that used it. So I always actually compare it to taking a Costco size of peanut M&Ms and throwing it on the floor, and wow, there's the Virgin Mary, sell it on eBay. No, but how, it's chaos theory. There's clusters of things. So I see these companies that I consult, they have like 15 sequences and 21 sequences, just 3 to 5 sequences, and in relevant segmentations, almost like you're running ads. I need 18 to 25 Kid Rock fans who love Metallica in Atlanta. You have to be careful about homogeneous GPT. Homogenize, this means all the same, like good milk. It's good in milk, but it's not good in messaging. So right now, there's kind of the GPT-ization of everything. You can see the LLM. It praises, congrats on the role. Nice to see you have 15 headcount. It uses words that are maybe formal or literary, and you can just see the AI dripping out of it. So if you use a platform like Reggie.ai, Copy.ai, if you get all into like Clay and get all sophisticated with integrations like PS, here's the Chinese food again. I love Chinese food. It's cool if you know the restaurant down the street, but I have this system of heuristics, which are overlays, they're shortcuts. It's kind of like guardrails. Think of it like bumper bowling. So you have to make sure that you have social proof, that it's hard hitting, that there's fear and pain, that there's a before and after, that it's concise. There's all these other elements, which I call heuristics, that rein in the AI. Now, we spent a lot of time, even with PhD scientists, trying to build like the Justin Michael method LLM. And now you can do it really easy with a digital twin, but it never actually sounds that way, because the problem is it's a robot. And the robot will never go negative. And great sequencing highlights pain and talks about struggles and fears and challenges. And so I'm always putting all these interesting innuendo words in, and I can't get a ChatGPT to write that way. Wow, yeah, so when I work with discovery, I am looking for compelling event, compelling reason. I do love the spin framework and implication and need payoff, the second order value of questions. But sometimes I almost take a technique as if I'm trying to recruit them. I'll ask a prospect like, where do you see yourself in 2 years? Or, why did you take this role? Or I'll go on LinkedIn and ask them something that a machine wouldn't find. Like I'll just randomly ask, oh, you were in an a cappella choir and then competed in Spain? The best story ever was I was training a team down in HubSpot in Australia and teaching personalization and relevance. And it turns out this was like $1 million winner, President's Club. In Ireland, he had been a champion rabbit breeder. So I just said, basically, like, if I sent you a message with a subject line, champion rabbits, 100% you take it. He's like, yeah, 100%. So, you know, I think you got to beat the bots by getting creative. Everything on the LinkedIn, they want you to see. So it's kind of like you're going through the traditional discovery and you're doing the spin implication, you're doing these, you know, needs and probing, but then you just drop this tidbit, you know, and that's pretty arresting for people. If you pull something out of the past, it's interesting. Like I get a lot of mileage with those. To predict the predictions toward the singularity in 2035, and I've been a futurist about this stuff, but a little bit quiet. I have met Ray Kurzweil before in San Francisco, and that was interesting. You have to think of Aaron Ross releasing the book Predictable Revenue, sort of the Moneyball model of we're going to have SDRs, sales development reps, and account executives, the SDR-AE industrial complex, which I've called it, and then there's the Cambrian explosion of tech. There are now thousands of solutions. Well, it's really easy. You just got to think Elon Musk and the Gigafactory. So what did we first do? We went Model T. We created an assembly line. We got SDRs and we've got AEs. So that is sub-specialization and consolidation. And so we're going to specialize more and more and have SDRs doing very specific things like data analysis or a Clay expert or social selling or just phones. There'll be parallel assisted dialers. Now, if you're emailing one at a time, that's the horse and buggy. And if you're calling one at a time, that's a horse and buggy, right? Ask Henry Ford what they wanted. They just wanted faster horses. So the way we predict the future is easy. We just take the assembly line of SDR-AE and build the Gigafactory. So we turn the SDR into a robot. We have a robot train the other robot. What's on the line building the cars, it's built by the robots, and then the robots are watching that, and watching the watchers could be robots, and you could just automate the whole thing. What's really crazy is the buyer and the seller could be automated, like high frequency trading. And so the CRM of the future, and I quote Tomas Tunguz, it just goes out and like in real time just produces a meeting based on all the infinite variables of what the buyer and seller are looking for. So subspecialization, consolidation, humans being more like machines and machines being more like humans, the top funnel goes away and we move downstream, because the only thing left that a human can do is create a solution, be empathetic, be loving. I even think that there'll be a nostalgia, like it'll be a premium, like a vinyl record player, like records, like, can I get the human option for the extra $1,000? The other big trend we're seeing is everything's pay for play. With auto spam and robocalls and automation of everything, you know what happens? All the C-levels disappear and they hang out in private Slacks, and you have to pay to get a meeting. So we're seeing some of that.